This is the only one I can see. That's what we go by. It is 7 o'clock, May 11th, 2019, and I'd like to call the meeting to order. Can we begin with the pledge to the flag?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Do you have any public comment on agenda items only? If not, can I have a motion to accept the agenda? Made by John Merwin, seconded by Ralph Fidelli. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Let us do the police report. We have Eric Greening and
Tyler Conlon. I believe everyone has.
yes, you have. I'm terrible with names, so
I believe everyone has this report in front of them.
yes.
If you look at the bottom, we have April 2019, and underneath that is the number of incidents of 2018 for April. Everything yellow is in yellow is the arrests. And this month of April we had 28 incidents, and last year we had 29. So it's pretty similar. Yes.
These tend to run pretty similar from month to month, from what we've seen anyway.
I guess so.
Yeah.
This is a big improvement on the reports because you can see it very quickly.
Yes.
18 to 19, very good.
That's good.
Thank you.
Are there any questions about the reports?
Brad, did you have a question about the non-custodial arrest?
Yes, I was looking at the yellow and this non-custodial arrest. Could you explain that, please?
It basically just means they're not being arraigned in front of a judge. We just take their information in the car or at the station.
But they will eventually have to go before a judge?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
It's usually issued an appearance ticket, so they're free to leave that evening, but they'll have to report back to the court at the date assigned, and usually that'll be on the same day as the special prosecutor or DA day. Then they'll get arraigned at that point, and if they don't show up, then a bench warrant gets issued.
Right.
So,
Any other questions? No?
Very good, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks for coming
Have a
out.
good evening.
Yeah, stay.
Thank you.
Bob, you want to?
Our current uniform contract with Ulster Uniform Service will expire on May 24th. They are willing to renew for another 3-year contract with a one-time 2.2% increase. And we are very happy with the company. They provide an excellent service. And, if possible, we'd like to renew with them.
Might just mention that you have had other companies in the past, and they have not been very good. We've had a lot of problems with this,
Yes, we have.
both with uniforms, just materials, everything else, not measuring up to overbilling,
Wasn't good.
not very good. Ulster is a good company, and I think we should stay with them. Everyone can have a motion to stay with Ulster uniform.
So moved.
Made by Ralph Fidelli, seconded by Chris Kennan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next, we have 2 string trimmers and 1 backpack blower that need to be replaced. We have 3 quotes. The lowest being from Conway's Lawn and Power in Red Hook for $1,130.80 for all 3 items.
Is that a good,
No.
a good price?
Very good, yes.
That's a good price for, quality,
They're all professional,
yes.
great tools.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Not homework.
Not the one that Ralph has to.
Right.
Can I have a motion to purchase that made by John Merwin, seconded by Chris Kennan, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And last, I have a list of surplus equipment. If the board would approve it, I would like to advertise it on Auctions International.
Surplus equipment, we don't need it, we might just as well get something for it. Can I have a motion to put that on Auctions International? Made by Ralph Fidelli, seconded by John Merwin.
Is the landscape rake the one that we just replaced?
We just replaced.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any questions?
You're all set?
Okay, thanks.
Do we have a report from the assessor? Is there anything? Okay, I know there is something later on.
Part two. Sorry, but listen, yeah. I had a copy of that report. So just my usual time of the year report. Center roll is out and published as of May 1st. Town clerk has a copy, my office has a copy, and it's published on the website for the Dutchess County website. And there's a link on our website to that. So anybody can check their tentative value, and if they have an issue, come speak with me or advance to grievance day. I have extended hours for reviewing the roll, in case anybody doesn't have online availability. Extended hours this coming Tuesday evening from 4 to 8, and this Saturday right before grievance day, Saturday morning. So if anybody needs any extra time, that's outside my office hours. And then grievance day will be at the end of the month, Wednesday, May 29th. The hearing hours are 3 to 5 and 6 to 8. Appointments are required, and further information can you get in my office. And then I have a list of exemptions, as I give you every year. Exemption deadline was March 1st, and these are our tallies so far this year. I like to give you kind of a glance back as well. And you'll see the first one, a star, has dropped off precipitously. And that's because of the program they state instituted a few years ago, where any new homeowners cannot get into the star exemption program. They created a new star check program, where they'll send them a rebate check instead of getting their tax relief on their tax bill itself. They have to pay their tax bill and then they get a check. Why, I don't know, but that was their system. And so as you see, as people sell their properties or move away, they no longer can qualify for the exemption. The new owners get the star check, so our exemption number goes down. Other ones, the enhanced, the seniors, veterans, small decreases, mostly because of folks passing away. And everything else pretty much stayed the same, so we're in pretty good shape there. The big changes that happened last year with the enhanced star, where the legislation demanded that all recipients of the enhanced star register with them, like the basic star did years ago. I foresaw a lot of problems. Our seniors having to fill out 3 separate forms that are their simple little form, but actually everything went smoothly. We got everything out early, ahead of time. People had time to ask questions, go through it, and we actually got everybody registered, so success on that front. And even some low-income seniors, I was worried that those that don't have to file income tax anymore, that are very low income, they are required to file. Since the tax department's checking the income tax through their system, I was worried how things were gonna happen, but so far so good, everybody's been approved. So we'll see if any glitches appear next year, but I'm happy with the results. And then of course, curveball, the new 2019 legislation, again with STAR. The state is looking to promote this new STAR check program. They want everybody to be on it eventually and get rid of the exemption. So to incentivize that happening, they've instituted these 2 new changes in the law. The first is that they're capping the tax savings that any homeowner will receive from Basic Star at 0. So your Star savings will never increase going forward. Whereas if you're in the check program, it's capped at 2%. So you may see 2% growth in your savings every year. That I don't know, that's so much of an incentive because as long as I've been here, I haven't seen any increase in Star. It's been going down. So that might not be an incentive, but maybe in the future it will be. So they've instituted that. And the second one is that if you're in the STAR exemption, they have now capped annual income at $250,000. So if you make more than $250,000, you're cut out of the STAR exemption. Whereas if you're in the STAR check program, the cap is $500,000 like it used to be. So if you're between $250,000 and $500,000, you have to go for the check program. So they're just kind of pushing things that way. We'll see how it goes. Of course, that doesn't affect me at all, but there are a handful of people in town that were kicked out the exemption this year. So they will be able to qualify for the STAR check program, but now they've moved out of it. So we'll see a few more increases next year. But they're trying to promote it. It's out of my hands, so I'm happy. We don't have to deal with those exemptions anymore, but so far so good.
Any questions, anyone?
I see there's an increase in the exemptions for solar wind power.
Yes, that's certainly being more popular, and that's home-based systems,
Right.
roof systems that we have. They started slowly moving in now, getting 4 or 5 a year being built or set up and then applied for, so it's a good thing. That's the only thing that's pretty much keeping them through the year. And those run for a period of 15 years. Basically exempts the entire value of the solar system.
Very good.
Very good.
Thank you.
See you guys later. Thank you.
We have anything from planning and zoning?
It's here.
The report is on the table. Town clerk have anything?
Just my report and the dog control report, and then I just want to note that there's a citizens preparedness training on May 23rd at the Northeast Millerton Library Annex. And the doors open at 6:30.
Okay, very good. Moving on here, next I'd like to have, we're going to have a presentation on the new plans for the Eddie Collins Field Recreation Area. And I'm not sure which of our presenters is going to start off, so.
I think, if you want to go up there, Jean,
Yeah.
I'll stay back. While she's going up there, let me just introduce myself as Stephen Wake, a former village trustee, and I find it very hard not wanting to motion on things here when I'm up here. So, a former trustee, member of the Recreation Committee.
Where do you think the best place for sure is?
Well,
Is that easel in that?
some up over there, they might be able to be seen
Yeah,
That's fine.
yeah.
by
No, I thought
the
we
audience
had
as
one
well
in
as
the
the
back.
board.
By the judges who are there.
All the town owns one.
Well,
We could set it up here,
You could use that chair.
Right here.
Or this one, I hold it up better.
up this works.
Not the whole screen.
Actually, maybe right over on the,
Ralph will hold it. I can.
Okay, that's your job, Ralph.
yeah.
We know, we wanna get the,
Yeah. You know what I'm gonna do is I'm going to, this is a summary that, it's
All right, so
broken
we
into
can
4
follow-
phases.
we can
You
follow.
have it on your sheets there.
right here.
And then this is the same thing, but it summarizes everything, so that's gonna be hard for anybody to read, so this is for you to see. If you can hold that one. Thanks. And,
Is this the existing?
No,
no, this is a proposed, so this is what is on that, it just has a lot more text on this one than on this one. So let me just walk them through this quickly, and then you can do your presentation, just to orient them. Okay, so, the plan is, and you all have the smaller sheets that you can follow on, to take the existing field and, put in, get rid of one baseball field, reorient the other one, put in 2 basketball courts, a new swimming pool and bathhouses, and upgrade the existing children's playground. And Steve will walk you through the process that we went through to get this design. And I think about it.
So where is 22?
22
Right
is
along.
right here.
Okay.
Yeah, and here's the existing entrance, so that just becomes like a monument. We're putting in a new entrance over here with a lot of parking. So I'll just prop this up here.
How do they can see what we're talking about?
What's that field in the lower right corner, the very large one?
Lower right corner here.
Yeah, the light green field.
It's a soccer field,
That's a soccer.
yeah. And it's meant to be kind of an all-purpose field, so.
Let me just, while Jean's doing that, she has that there, so she'll put the board here and I'll talk a little bit about it. Jeannie Van Acco, if you don't know Jeannie Van Acco is the president of Townscape, a not-for-profit, and she is also a member of, the committee I basically put together, I should say, I use that term loosely, but was organized when Mayor Marconic was in position over at the village as mayor. I'm not gonna go too much through the process and how we got to this point, because in front of you, you should have some information. Did we give that information? Information which gives you background of the park itself, the facilities, the programs, and the process we went through to come up with a conceptual design for the park. And obviously, when we were looking at the park, we were looking at the park completely different than the way it is now. And we were looking to be a little bit bold and brash and a little different in some ways. I'll also try to returning some things that have been missing for a few years now. So let me just run through what we have here. And we basically have a 4-phase plan. And the phases came about as some other committee wondered, would the park be usable at different times if all this was occurring at once? So we broke it down in phases so that we think it could be usable at different times. But let me just run through the phases quick. You'll notice some changes. The first is the entryway into the park itself would change. It will no longer be at the arch where it is now. There would be a separate entryway and a separate exit way. As you can see up to the, well, it would be your north, not complete northwest corner, but toward the center. And you'd be able to enter, and there'd be an absolute defined parking space, a parking area, parking lot, which would be elongated or vertical in a sense, so that if you're driving past Route 22, you're not seeing a horizontal parking lot there. It's a narrow one, and it will be buffered visually by shrubs, trees, of that nature, which would screen it. So you wouldn't necessarily see it the way you would a horizontal parking lot where cars are just constantly across in this manner. That would be the first thing that we would be looking at. There'd be 120 spaces, 5 which would be ADA compliant, which is the specifications for that, and then also about 28 or 30 more overfill spaces towards your front, which is really the grassy area. And then, of course, also part of phase 1, I can't see myself, but there's some different things in there, stormwater drainage missing out, but I'm gonna move to your,
This shows phase 1 marked out.
I'm going to continue forward up to the 2 new basketball courts. So the existing basketball court that there's now would be removed, and 2 new courts replacing the back. Basketball was one of the more popular activities, and the court is usually quite well over there during the day, during the week, during the summer months. So the addition of 2 new basketball courts that would be towards the rear, the existing one would not, would of course be torn up, which has been there since, I believe, about 1980. And all that information is in the pamphlet that you have. And it hasn't really been, probably not touched too much since 1980. And then also what we have, and of course, one of the other improvements we'd like to do, the current playground which is there now, we'd see some improvements to that, a resurfacing of the area around. I don't know if you're familiar with accessible playgrounds, which is what the playground currently is over there, but there's usually a cushioning type surface that's poured around for the safety of children and such. So new surface, new additions, upgrades or improvements to that as well. And then I'm going to jump to the addition, which I think it was most commented on in the survey that we did, and that of course was the pool. The pool was a very popular place. It was a big draw for not just kids but adults, for the community. And I know growing up, I personally used the pool quite often, and many who grew up during the age of the pool, which was probably from about 1967, I'd say, to 2016, I think, when it was eventually closed by the Village of Millerton. And I know I was on the board personally when that was closed, and there were legitimate reasons for closing the pool, safety reasons. So the pool became the focus of the park. You can see that when you eventually go through your works, you'll see that we went through a number of items, including looking at a large indoor facility for the park itself, because we wanted to see something unique or a little different than what we have there. But the pool became the driving force, and where that pool would be placed or where it would exist would determine some of the landscape or the design of the park itself. And the pool being such an important piece that, it was brought up at times, I know in village board meetings, that having a pool out front would be the ideal thing because people would see it. We as a committee talked about that. It's not necessarily ideal because I don't think you want to have a pool right along Route 22. It's not a place where you want young kids kind of going out and about during the summer camp programs and such. But also because the pool was in the back for a reason. There's elevated ground back there. So this is an area where you would have to bring in some fill and it would be raised. And the pool itself, and I say the pool, I'm using that as a very general term. This is a pool that we put in here for the idea of just a conceptual design. I know that after the village reviewed the plans and such, they wanted to see more of a recreational type pool, meaning more of a pool that was geared towards young children and such, and that's quite understandable. But we needed to have something here to go by. And this is a pool that would be about 7.5 feet. It would be a zero weight in, I think. And what that is basically, it would be a kind of a ramp in type of way. And so people with maybe disabilities and such could use the pool, or it'd be a little easier for them to get into, get out of. But the pool became the driving factor because with the pool became the addition of what we would have is a new septic field, which would be a pump up type of system in a large area of the park itself, because you would need large space to accommodate not just the pool, and I'll speak a little bit about the new bathhouse too that would be constructed, but the overall other sports and activities that might be going on. So the pool really ultimately decided what might stay, what might go in that sense. So we also were looking at, of course, a new bathhouse, which would be a part of that. I think you can see that. It's a purple, marked in purple alongside the pool itself. We decided to now be about 1,800 square feet and such. I'm not sure the number of restrooms and such, but it's per code and what we would decide. Also, we decided to leave the pavilion, which is there now, which is really in pretty good shape, the pavilion itself. And then also the current bathhouse, which is used now as still something that was constructed in 1967 and still used as kind of the offices of our summer camp director and such, would become an area for storage, which we very much need that department if this were to be done. Also, a walking trail. Walking trail would be constructed that would actually go back behind the area where the old pool used to be, and then come all the way back around, and reconnecting up with the park itself. This is an area that, it would be a different type of material. I know that we talked about it on there, I know that some I would like to see perhaps a different type, more up to the front, but towards the rear would have to be a heavy crushed stone or that manner, but something that you certainly could get around on, or I hope that I could get around on in this. Because we want some, it's not a park we're trying to build just for kids, it's a park we're trying to build for also an aging population that might wanna take some walks, or also work on a little bit of different exercising stations, which we're considering in areas back there too. So that is pretty much phase one. I don't think I missed anything in phase one.
Yeah, phase one is, as he said, the centerpiece is the pool, but it's also infrastructure. So we're doing basically all the site improvements that will then allow us to do the other things later. So, and
Now-
when we get to the budget, you'll see that it's very much weighted toward phase one, and that's because of the infrastructure.
And before I go any further, I just want to point out one other thing too. On the designs here, they indicate synthetic or artificial turf. I will tell you right now that the village board has already said that that's not something that they're going to accept as part of that. So this, what we're looking at now is basically grass, which is what it is now. And the lily field would not be touched in phase one, which is currently a very popular field. Phase two, we move on to phase two, and that's basically the construction of what would be a soccer field in place of what now is there is a large baseball field. And this is probably going to be a sticking point for many people. The large baseball field is pretty much what was initially there when the park first started. The field itself is not used nearly as much as it used to be. Back in the day, communities had men's teams. Each community had their own men's baseball team. That no longer exists. There's only one community I know that still has, locally, that has men's teams, and that's the Union Monarchs in Union. Even that went stoic or on hiatus for 10 years because it just became difficult to find numbers and people to participate until some of the old guard who continued to keep it running to step forward. And I hope that it continues on down there because we don't really have much of that around anymore. What we have here at our park and our baseball field is the fields are beautifully groomed for the beginning of the season by generously by a local landscaping company who comes in and prepares the fields for the season. But what happens as usual with a large field, and then there is another field located over in another section, they quickly become in bad condition. I drove over today just to kind of take a peek, and those fields were prepped 2 weeks ago, and I'm already seeing grass growing up in the infield of the large field. So it's been a field that's once been revamped. There wouldn't be enough space for it with the pool, with this particular pool and being put in this place. And currently right now, there are probably about 4 games a year played on that field by youth players who participate in a league. They call it Babe Ruth, and they're not sanctioned by any organization. It is basically what they call the Colonial League, and that uses Pine Plains and Union. Sharon no longer has their own team. A lot of towns have had to combine. So in Connecticut, you have actually three towns. They might call it 3 towns. They might call it 3 towns, is what they might call it. So that is something that would go away. But in addition to that going away, what would come in its place is what we decided was ultimately a soccer field. Now, what a soccer field would do is, soccer is a sport that's commonly played in the fall, but also travel teams play in the spring. It instantly makes this park not just a 2-season park, but a 3-season park. So you're looking at spring, summer, and then fall for usage. And I think that's important for a park to sustain itself. And also, looking in phase 2, you would see the addition of, what we would have here is a climbing tower,
That's this end.
which would be useful for summer camp or kids in that sense. And would be a nice attraction, a nice addition to the park itself. So that's basically phase 2.
If I can just interrupt you. Also, we have a space here on top of the septic that can be used for a number of other things. There could be a bocce court, there could be various kinds of paddle things that could go on there. So this is, once we have that septic in, that's just available land for things that are not so much infrastructure items.
Yeah, and there are some other spaces here where I think maybe something like a pickleball court or something could be constructed, that would be more geared towards, probably towards the adult, youth that likes to play the sport itself. But as I said, the synthetic turf or the artificial turf, for environmental and aesthetic reasons, the board is basically mix that, and I respect their decision on that. Besides, I think it'll cut costs, and for those that need to raise money and try to do this, it might be a little easier. So, moving into phase 3, you'll see the current Lillard field. And really, the only thing that happens with the Lillard field is it gets turned in its direction. And what that does is that one of the things that the company that came in, or the engineering firm that came in to do the conceptual plan, is that they noticed that our fields were facing not in the general direction that most fields would be facing. So this would turn the field in a direction more suited for it, but it would also, what it would do, and it's one of the things that's frustrating to me, is that the way the field's set up over there now, and the way that the DPW or the current highway department is gated in, is it makes it very difficult for people with disabilities to watch games, because you have to actually walk all the way over by the highway department. Back in the day, you could actually drive, the gate was never closed at the highway department. There was no real key, you could just drive in and park your vehicles back in there. So elderly folks or people with disabilities could easily get back there. It's difficult to get back there now, and there's no path to do it, there's no trail, there's no paved path. This would put the field in a position where it would be accessible from the parking area for individuals with disabilities or grandparents who are aging and stuff to watch their kids play. And I just think the overall design of it will be better that way as well. The highway department itself would pretty much remain the same, although the gate would be pushed back. Or the fencing, which is I want to say gate with the fencing itself. So. And then as we move into phase 4, ultimately what we'd like to see in phase 4 is we'd like to see addition of a community center or a facility or building that could be used by sports teams or the community at large. So that would be phase 4. And we're talking about a building that's probably 2,700 square feet. So that is the overall conceptual plan that we've come up with as a committee. And personally, I'm pleased with the plan. I know that some will question it and have their doubts about it, especially because of baseball and stuff of that nature, but it's not like the old days. Baseball was primarily played in the spring on those fields, at least that large field, by kids who didn't have the opportunity to play in school, by kids who were in 7th or 8th grade. That's no longer the case because they have what they call modified programs in school. And these kids, you never saw a kid, at least when I went to school, you never saw a kid from Armenia until you were in 4th grade. And you certainly didn't play an athletic sport with that person from Armenia until you were in probably 9th grade. because you're a junior varsity or varsity program. That's not the case anymore. Consolidation has been all the way around. There's no longer a little school here in Middleton, there's no longer a little school in India. So we've seen these kids playing together, already. And I don't think that's an issue. I think that's something that should actually try to promote, and keep doing that. I love the idea of having your own community team, but I also know that these kids play together, and if you want to improve, keep them playing together. I think that's why the soccer program at the school has been fairly successful over the years, because they do have a feeder program where kids from Millerton, and all the kids that go to the school district play together in that program. So that's basically what I have for you here. And I think what this does with this park is that it, like I said, it gives you a 3-season park, one that stays active pretty much year round. And if we are able to come up with a community room and create that, it would eventually be almost a 4-season park in some ways. It also would bring some much needed recreation, I think, at least cooling off recreation, for those that might be using the northern end of the rail trail on a long hot day. It might be good to take a nice cold swimming pool, or they may want to go up to Cook Bay Falls, or they may want to go up to Red Pond, since the town has been able to secure a wonderful new harbor. I think you guys all know, or the board knows, that I've been pretty much a proponent of recreation. I've always thought that Northern has had the opportunity of real recreational resource. I fully believe that now as I see the rail trails going forward, as the town has secured the meat harvester at Red Pond. And if we're able to do this with a park, it would bring another aspect of recreation, the competitive side to it, but also the leisure as well. So you would have a really nice, what they call it basketball. Coaches are teaching kids basketball, which is a position that's get in the triple threat position, which means you can dribble, shoot, or pass. This really gives you that opportunity, I think, because at Red Pond you have the opportunity to do some camping, fishing, hunting, boating, and then on the rail trail you can take your nice stroll or your bike ride on a leisurely way through some beautiful country as you go north here. I think we all see, we'll see that. And then the opportunity to have some competitive fun at Eddie Collins Memorial Park. So that's what I have for you guys, and what you have in front of you are pretty much how we got to this point. We'll see a lot of cost and that nature. For us, the next step is basically to look at fundraising. And kind of this, because what we do now, and what I've learned doing the research about Eddie Collins Park and all of the facilities that are there now, that the park itself really came about because of private donations. That is really how the park has grown. It's come about because of either in-kind services or it's come about from private donations. I don't foresee that changing. I don't foresee myself coming in here and saying, hey, put in a new pool or put in new basketball courts. I know that it's difficult to find the funds for that. But we also know too that the key to this park is maintaining it. And that's been an issue over the years with the park. And that's something that we want to look at too, on how fundraising or a 501c3 of that nature or some foundation, we're able to assist her or to really make that happen so that this park stays viable for years to come. So that's basically my presentation, guys. I don't want to keep you here for too long because I probably could go on for quite a while. Do you have any questions?
You've given us a lot of information. It's going to take a while, I think, for everyone to digest what you've told us. Are there any questions at this point? And I'm sure we're going to have questions along the way.
Oh, yeah,
Once
listen, there's nothing that, this is a conceptual drawing,
Yeah,
And conceptual plans can change, okay?
understood.
And anything that is going to be done, it has to be done through the village anyway. It can't, I can't personally go in there and just do something in the park. It's a public space. It is the right thing. So that is what we'll have to occur.
I think Bill has a question.
Well, Steve, I have a quick question for you and Jean.
Yes.
Are you anticipating putting any nighttime lighting up?
That has been something that's been considered, yes. We did not put that in this. It was something that was on the survey, and I believe in the documents that provided the board, there is a weighted, and Billy, I think you're familiar with this being on a comprehensive plan. We used Survey Monkey,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and they of course weight things out. And I can't remember on the list where lighting fell, but yes, that's something that we would consider. And I don't know if it's something that we would consider for the entire park, but certainly for the parking lot maybe, or for some of the areas of the field itself. I know that I really kind of was a proponent of synthetic or artificial turf, at least for one field. And that would have been the Little League field, which I also would have liked to see lighted, because what I had envisioned there was a field in northern Dutchess County, or at least in the northwest corner of Connecticut, New York, and Massachusetts, where you could actually create a program for individuals who have disabilities, individuals who might not be able to participate on a regular field or with a regular group of kids. Certain services will allow you to do that. And I think there's only one field in Dutchess County that is actually structured toward that. But, the village is pretty clear that, synthetic turf is not something else.
I think what we would do, Bill, is when we're doing the infrastructure in phase one, we would go ahead and wire for lighting throughout, because that's the expensive part, is just the underground stuff. And then, depending on how successful our fundraising is, we'd certainly want to do everything we can to extend the functionality of this, both in terms of age groups and activities, to make it as all-purpose as possible. And if we ever get to the point that we have the community room, that would certainly be something that should be used in the evening as well.
Can I ask that you consider dark sky lighting
Oh,
design
absolutely.
principles?
Totally with you on that.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that
Yeah.
as well, so yes.
Is there any plans for any climate smart components to that? Is there anything that would fit into that?
We haven't considered that in this phase, but I think everything that we do, we're going to want to make it as ecologically friendly as we can. So, when you say climate smart, that really is directly related to CO2 emissions.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's the other part of it, which is not polluting with your
Right.
building practices.
Right,
So, yes.
and also solar, I think that was the other thing I was wondering about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, there is actually, I don't know if over there are existing solar panels over at
Yes.
the highway department, yes.
Mhm.
I don't think we would envision anything like solar panels in that manner, but certainly for some of the field, I can tell you that there are now, and I'm sure that you're familiar with it, there are actually lighting itself, which can be solar,
Mhm.
at least, what's the word I'm looking for, run by solar energy, basically. So they basically charge during the day and they're able to run at night. So I think those options are out there. I think that's getting a little bit too detailed for us at this point.
I just didn't know if it was something that was thought about as far as your infrastructure goes.
This was a feasibility study that we did.
Right.
And even though Chazen Company that we worked with did beautiful drawings for
Yeah.
us, which makes it look much more resolved than it actually is.
Right.
So you should think of this as a well-developed space plan.
Right.
And the primary thing that Chazen had to tease out was the location of the pool. Because where it was before, that has subsurface water problems, it's too close to the trees, and
Right.
it became a maintenance issue. So that really drove the disposition of everything else. And once they realized where the pool could and should go, then everything else kind of fell into place. The next thing that we're going to do is, we're gonna make a tabletop model of this that we'll have at the Village Hall, so people can go and see it. Then we'll have some public meetings for people to respond to it. Then we'll take all that information, and the next thing would be to go into a deeper design phase. So that will specify materials, means and methods, etc., and incorporate people's feedback. So we're right at, I would say we're at step 1 out of 6 or 7 steps.
Right. Thank you.
And you all have the budget that was generated. If you look at what was in there for the artificial turf, for the entire thing, that comes to about $1 million. So there's millions in savings if we don't do that. But the other thing that is not in here is the maintenance budget. And we feel, our committee feels really, really strongly that anything we build, we have to have a backup fund and a source of income for that fund so that we can maintain it. Because we all know that one of the real problems in the village, in the town, has been like the playground. That was given by somebody with a very generous gift, but there was no maintenance given with the gift. And that's one reason it's fallen into disrepair. We don't want to see that happen with this.
Well, that's something we don't want to see happen. That was probably one of the things that's been a sore spot with me for a while. As I see, I'd rather have a nice green soccer field than a field that's named after Hall of Fame baseball that looks like, something you might find out in a normal field, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gina, thank you, Steve, very much.
I think you all know how to get in contact with me if you have any questions.
I think I know how to get a hold of this.
I'm not one to get too far away, so. Together.
Next, I'm gonna jump here a little bit. I go to we have from the Salisbury Bank, we have Bianca Martin, who is branch office manager, and Megan Dowell, who is vice president for retail operations. And they are going to explain to us in relation to the changes that have taken place, as I explained at the last meeting, with the funds that we currently have there and how that will be done.
Currently, the funds are in a pledge agreement. I'm not sure what you explained at the last meeting. What we're looking to do is to move them to...
Can you move to the front here?
Yeah. What we're looking to do is moving the funds to an ICS account, which is a service that the bank uses, which will take the funds in amounts less than $250,000 and move them to other banks so that the funds are always going to be insured. With that, we manage all of the funds. If you need to make a withdrawal, we do the withdrawal for you. The other banks don't get any of your information. It's all just housed through us. But what that does for the bank is we get reciprocal funds from other banks. So because we're putting $250,000 into this ICS program, we get another $250,000 from another bank. So that gives us more funds to be able to lend out. Where with the pledge agreement that we're doing now, we're using collateral, so we don't have the funds to lend out. So it really puts the bank in a position where we can lend out more funds to the community by using this program. The interest rates are all the same as you would be getting now, and we can do multiple money market accounts like we're doing now.
I think as you may remember, how this came about was that we were looking to maximize the interest rates on the accounts that we had there. And that as explained, this will give us 2.25% as the current rate on there, which compares very favorably with any other rates that we can get anyplace in a secure type of thing. So, are there any questions concerning?
We'd much rather keep our money local.
We would.
Which is what we thought that.
Well, that was the desire from the beginning.
Right.
And I appreciate the fact that you were able to give us that rate. It certainly made our decision much easier.
One question, you mentioned IDS program,
It's ICS.
ICS, and that is what?
It's a program by promontory. It stands for Insured Cash Sweep, but it's really not automatically sweeping the funds. We would be moving the funds for you.
Okay.
Any questions? No. If not, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next we have the renewal of the junkyard, the Benwood Knolls, and Scenic View Trailer Park permits. These have all been recently looked at by our building section. Mike has taken a look at them, and we are in compliance, and therefore we would like to go ahead with the permits.
Is the junkyard still in operation?
They still continue to get
It's a yearly permit.
the permit,
I think-
so that it can be continued
Because
as.
I think if they let that permit
Right.
lapse
If
or
it-
something, they
If
will
it were to
have
lapse, then they would not be able to get it again, so. Anything else? If not, can I have a motion to accept those permits?
So,
Made by John Merwin, seconded by
Second.
Ralph Fidelli, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Announcement that May 12th through 18th is National Police Week, with the Dutchess County Sheriff's Office holding a remembrance ceremony at 9 a.m. on May 16th at the Dutchess County Sheriff's Office Law Enforcement Center for anyone who wishes to attend. It is an annual event. It honors those officers who either were hurt, injured, killed, or died through natural causes. And it is a worthwhile affair. The next thing is the Memorial Day proclamation. And we approve this every year. It is a proclamation that is done annually. This year, it is the mayor of Millerton who will be presenting that proclamation on Memorial Day. It changes every other year. One year will be the village, one year will be the town. This year it is the village's turn. So that will be occurring on Memorial Day.
We need a motion for you to sign that.
Can I have a motion, yes, to sign that proclamation?
So,
Made by Ralph Fidelli, seconded by Chris Kennan. All in favor?
aye.
Aye. We have, I believe you will find in your packet there a request by the CAC to consider a resolution to do the following, and do you happen to have that? Could you read that for us, please?
This is from the Diane Engleke, chairperson of the CAC. The Northeast Millerton CAC would respectfully ask the town board to consider a resolution to do the following. recycling bins in government buildings, create a municipal policy that requires placement of recycling bins wherever there is a trash bin. Implement that policy by providing recycling bins in all common areas in local government buildings, such as kitchens and copy rooms, and at every employee's desk. The trash and recycling bins need to be clearly distinguishable with different colors and signage. Create new signage, if needed, to educate employees on what type of items are recyclable and which go to the landfill. This is an action towards the Climate Smart Community certification. The CAC can help with the implementation. More information is available on the DEC website.
Chris, maybe you can answer, my only question on here was, do we need at each table then 2 different cans?
I had the same question. And I haven't really looked into what that would mean. We're talking about town buildings, town facilities.
Yeah.
There are trash cans in the village, which this would not apply to. But this really refers to trash receptacles that are here at the highway
In
garage.
government
In government facilities.
yeah.
And I would, I think we
I mean,
should see, I don't understand whether we would put a recycling container at each desk. Because there
Well-
probably aren't even trash receptacles at each desk.
I mean, I think what you see generated at each individual desk here is gonna be paper in nature anyway. We don't, household garbage or anything of that nature isn't, you may at lunchtime, and it may, for the kitchen facility, something of that nature. But the only thing that I see really generated at any of the, within any of the offices here is going to be paper. And that would go into recycling anyway. So I'm just wondering is that sufficient to meet climate smart needs?
Is there intention that instead of just throwing a piece of paper in our garbage can and then when the cleaner comes in, she picks up every bag and throws them in the regular can, is to put them in some kind of other, like a box that's for recycling, so it goes into the recycling bin outside here as opposed to regular trash?
I think it'd probably be worth taking a look at this and coming
Yeah.
back with
Okay.
something a little bit more
Yeah.
specific
Okay.
than this.
No,
Because I think the idea is a good one, we should have it,
Yes.
but it should be.
No, I don't think anybody is arguing with the idea, it's just without how to carry it out.
I propose that we hold that one over.
Table it further.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to announce that there will be a senior picnic put on by Dutchess County Office for the Aging to be held on Wednesday, June 12th at 12 o'clock at Pine Plains Lions Club Pavilion, 82 Beach Road. There is prior registration required at the Office for the Aging, 845-486-2555. For all of you under 60 years old, you don't need to worry about this. This is for us folks. This is an annual event. It's been going on for a good number of years now. It's always a great deal of fun. It's usually a half of chicken and all the fixings. And it's a good time. They have a show there that our county executive is always there to kind of lead the ceremonies. And he's quite a showman anyway, so he enjoys it very much. Next is just an announcement of the submission of the Municipal Innovation Grant, MIG grant, for 2019 in the amount of $327,000 for the construction of sand salt shed in phase 2 of the joint highway garage construction project. As everyone knows, we are involved in phase 1 now. We will be going out to bid on construction for that very shortly. Last year, we were very fortunate to receive $240,000 in a grant to cover the design phase of phase one as well as construction. We will be coming in, actually the RFP for that will be going out on the 31st of this month. We will be back in June, I believe it's on the 28th. After that, we will make a selection of who will be the construction company, and then construction will begin nearly immediately. We expect to be, hopefully have the storage building completed by the end of this year. Hopefully, we will be starting a little earlier in the process for phase two. And that will be taking place at the beginning part of next year, so that we aren't quite so rushed in our second phase. Do you have any comment on that? And I want to thank Chris, because Chris was the one who did the application on this, and he did a very nice job on it.
Let's keep our fingers crossed. We need these supplemental sources of funding for the highway garage, because it's an expensive proposition. So this first grant was very helpful, and hopefully we will get one for this second phase, and hopefully one for the third phase, which will in fact be the actual highway garage.
Okay. Next is on the agreement with the Houstonic Valley Association, and I know that Warren put a rider onto that agreement today. I think we may have some questions concerning that. But if possible, I would like to, since they're anxious to get going, we're anxious to get going, to hopefully pass that this evening. One of the questions that I have, and I think we can probably do this in open session, is that concerning do non-for-profit organizations, such as the Houstonic Valley Association, are they required to abide by the payment of actual,
The labor law.
yeah, the prevailing wage, yes.
I think they are, if they're contracting for the town, but they can contact,
They'll
they
be
can
using
contact.
interns.
Yeah, they're using interns.
Yeah,
How do you
I
pay an
think what they have to
intern?
do is contact the labor department and see if they get a waiver for the prevailing wage, and then they will issue an opinion. I put in here only if they're required. I made it as applicable, that's what I meant.
Is that what it means?
That's what it meant. So if they can get a waiver from that, we can look into that if they can't comply with the prevailing wage, but.
I mean, they've already
If they're
done,
required to
they've
comply,
already done this
we have to
in many
comply.
other towns around.
You know,
It's already part of,
and they don't comply with the.
I don't know.
Oh,
Did they do this in Dover already?
Yeah, it might be worth just describing what it is that we're talking about, so that people understand that this is part of the climate smart.
well, actually, maybe this is
Action.
just a consulting.
This is a
I'm
consultant.
not sure that the prevailing wage would be applicable.
I talked to DEC
Yeah.
about the other portion of that, which is the greenhouse gas emissions measuring, and they specifically said to us that it would not apply to it.
Okay, and that's,
But this is for 2 of the 3 actions of the Climate Smart program that we're going to undertake initially. One is a town-wide vulnerability assessment of all the road stream crossings, all the culverts and drains and bridges, which water flow through. And that is really to assess our readiness to deal with the effects of climate change, such as greater water flows, particularly for a town that has, the Weebatuck stream flowing through it, a 100-mile flood zone, and so on. The second is a review of existing town policies, procedures, and publications using the Climate Smart Resiliency Planning Checklist, and that is something for which all the work that's gone into the comprehensive plan will be very, very helpful. That's really a paper job. Anyway, those two things are things which the Housatonic Valley Association is going to be helping us with, and the great thing is that they're able to satisfy the match requirements. Their input satisfies the match requirements for the town, so that these two actions are without any cost to the town.
I actually think it doesn't, it would be exempt, because this wouldn't be deemed to be a public works contract. So it probably exempt from the prevailing wage, but we can leave that in only, but if they are, if it applies, we have to have it. If they're not, but they can probably, I'll take another look at it, see, look at the statute, and maybe that this doesn't come under the prevailing wage, it's not a public works contract, but we'll see how they define it.
Yeah.
And,
So would it make sense then to go ahead and approve this at
Yeah,
this
because it's
time?
only
If
if
there's a
applicable.
problem, we can
Yeah.
come back to it.
yeah, only if applicable, that's
Yeah.
basically what it is. I just one thing, you're paying them up front. We don't usually do that in municipal contracts, but that's okay with you. Normally, we only pay, municipal payments are only made on voucher after the work is performed. But for this project, if you want to waive that requirement, that's fine with me.
I think on this one,
Okay. I just wanted, on the record. And all the rest is just what the stuff I usually put into these contracts. If they have a problem with it, just have them contact me and we can work it out. None of this is ingrained in stone, so.
Well, at least this would get the ball rolling on these things.
yes. With that, if there are any changes required, they will be made afterwards, but otherwise, can I have a motion to approve the agreement as written?
This is a motion to approve the agreement between the town of Northeast and the Housatonic Valley Association for the preparation of 2 priority certification actions towards the New York State Climate Smart Communities certification. Move that.
Made by Chris, seconded by Ralph, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Warren, do we have anything that,
I did look at the climate action plan to go over. Is that something you wanted to discuss or later time?
That's at a later time.
Later, okay. The only other thing is I do the closing tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay, so here's my letter. You'll have to get that to the bank.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're all set on the closing. And I don't think we have to go into executive session unless you want to go up there, but I was contacted by the attorney for the Selfridge zoning violation issue. And she reached out to me to see if we can open a dialogue, to see if we can resolve that. So if it's okay with you, I'd like to move forward with that and see if we can.
Well,
I'll get back to you before we approve that.
yes.
That's all I have.
very good. Next, we have actually supervisor's report. Monthly bills and abstracts. We have a special abstract dated April 24th, 2019, totaling $8,441.95, broken down as follows. A fund, $3,261.21. DB fund, $4,960.15. TNA payroll, $220.59. Can I have a motion to accept the special abstracts?
So moved.
Made by Ralph Fidelli, seconded by John Merwin. All in favor?
Aye.
We have an abstract dated May 9th, 2019, totaling $109,474.59, broken down as follows. A fund, $38,770.79. B fund, $480.69. DB fund, $29,894.61. Capital projects, H1, $11,271 even. Water district, SW1, $29,057.50. Can I have a motion to accept the
So moved.
abstract? Made by Ralph Fidelli, seconded by Chris Kennan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's it? Okay. Voucher committee for June is John Midwood and Chris Kennan. Did Catherine take on?
No, she's upstairs.
Okay. I believe that is all the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to kind of peruse the minutes? We have, the first one is the town board special meeting minutes for April 10th, 2019. I didn't find anything on there. Unless somebody else has something. Next is the, can I have a motion to approve the minutes for April 10th?
So moved.
Made by Ralph Fidelli, seconded by Chris Kennan. All in favor? Aye. Next are the town board special meeting minutes for April 29th, 2019. Anyone have any?
One of them, there was an apostrophe S that was missing.
There are a couple of
Possessive.
things
I
that I've
forget
found on
exactly
some of them. I
where,
can't remember which
that's
one.
the only thing I found.
Actually, I didn't find anything on this one either. Unless somebody else did. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of April 29th? Made by Chris Kennan, seconded by Ralph Fidelli. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next is the minutes of March 28th, 2019, and I've got a number of minor things with this one, and I will give you those.
Okay.
There's, unless somebody else has some other corrections. With those corrections, can we approve the minutes for March 29th? Made by John Merwin, seconded by Ralph Fidelli. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next to the town board special meeting minutes of April 18th, 2019. I can't remember if I read those. I don't see anything on there, so. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of April 18th, 2019? Made by Chris Kennan, seconded by Ralph Fidelli. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. General comment period. Do we have anything? Anybody, any comment? Bill?
I just want to check in and see if there's anything that you need from the planning board with respect to the highway garage project or any information that's gonna be forthcoming.
At this point, probably no. We haven't gone out with the RFP for construction yet. So, that will be going out the end of the month. We're waiting for the documents in relation to that. I believe they will be here the end of next week.
What would be the next phase in terms of being able to see plans either for the buildings themselves or for the site?
Probably after the RFP goes out.
Okay. We'll be looking forward to it.
Okay. Anyone else? Any comments? Anything? We are, I believe, Warren, we're all done with you.
Good. Excellent. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah, just one with you. You can have any problem, I'll be in the office.
Next thing on the agenda, we will, is to go into executive session with Catherine Johnson to discuss continuing strategy for the tax case. Can I have a motion to go into executive session? Made by John Merwin, seconded by Chris Kennan. All in favor?